There we go. Awesome. All right. Welcome to Try the Parks Lake Lanier Sprint pre-race webinar. There were about 50 people that registered. We got 20 people here, so the others will catch the recording. But you're lucky being here because you get to answer extra questions. This is brought to you by, of course, Try the Parks, the best race series in the Atlanta area, probably the world, but I'll just stick with the Atlanta area. All three sports sponsors the race and sponsors me. If you need anything, they do packet pickup on Thursday. Any tri materials you need. Rock Multisport, I'm an assistant coach there. So anyone wanting to get into wanting to coach, you'll get a better coach than me. Varlo, great tri gear, and Try the Park's my favorite. So you can reach me on Instagram. That's probably the best way, at Alex Fuller Tri. I want to hear after this race, if you crushed it, let me know, all that good stuff. So let's jump in. Today, we're going to talk about real quick about me. I'll introduce myself. We'll talk about pre-race. We'll walk through the whole race day, maybe some other tips. And then there were some questions that some of you submitted beforehand that I'll make sure I have in there. I have them in twice. So we'll make sure we hit those. And then at any time throughout the whole thing, if you want to throw a question in the Q&A, or you can throw it in the chat. I'll definitely get it if the Q&A. If chat blows up, I might miss it scrolling up, whatever. So throw any questions you have in the Q&A. So about me. So I live in exotic Cumming, Georgia, so Alpharetta area. I have 3 young kids, and I love Try the Parks. So I've done Try the Parks races for the last, 5 or 6 years. I was able to win the series a couple times, including last year. So that's why I'm talking to you, because I kind of know what's going on. This year, I'm competing as a professional triathlete. I'm doing Mont Tremblant 70.3 in June. That's kind of my big race coming up. I did Kona in 2022, lots of stuff. So that's, I don't know a ton, but I know a little bit about Try the Parks, and that's what we're talking about. So it's fun. And anyway, so who is registered for this webinar? So we had 55 people register. Here's a quick pie chart. So there's a few folks that are like, hey, I've done this before, but hey, I want to hear it again. That's awesome. There's other folks that are like, hey, I've never done this race, but I've done other Try the Parks race. And then there is a big chunk of you guys, well over 50%, that has never done any Try the Parks race. A lot of you are probably brand new. It might be your first triathlon, so lots of questions. And that's great. That's what we're going to talk about today. So I want you to leave here feeling confident, like, hey, I got this. And if you have any other, so we can answer your questions today. If you have additional questions later, you can reach out to me on Instagram at Alex Fuller Tri. I'm happy to answer anything. It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. So and also I'll just say, if you're like, oh man, I'm the only newbie, that is so not true. There are tons and tons of newbies all trying this out for the first time. I'll give you a warning. Triathlon, it's like a gateway drug. So once you do one, it's a slippery slope. You'll start doing more, and then you'll prioritize your entire life around training, and you'll turn pro. At least that's what happened to me. So be careful. It's pretty fun, and it can be dangerous that way. Here are the questions that came in beforehand. So lots of questions about bike safety, lots of questions about the swim, some other bike stuffs. So I'll try to hit these kind of going through if I remember, but I will definitely hit them all individually. We'll stop and do them one by one afterwards. Cool. So I'll make sure we get those in, anything in the Q&A. So, all right, let's talk about pre-race. So race day is Saturday. Weather's looking good. So up until then, this is what you want to do. So tonight you're learning, you're on the webinar. That's great. Tomorrow, you're going to want to get all your gear sorted out. I recommend this website, triathlon.racechecklist.com. It's actually legit what I use before races. You go through and check what you need. But if you figure out tomorrow, you lay out your gear, okay, I'm good to go. If for some reason you're missing something, that gives you a couple days to get it figured out. Maybe you can get an Amazon Prime delivery really quick. So sort stuff out Wednesday, tomorrow. Thursday is packet pickup if you have time. If you don't worry about it. You can pick it up Saturday. I love to go by all three. I usually buy stuff at the shop and then pick up my packet. And then Friday, I pack everything in the car, get my bike, good to go, and just chill, go to bed early. So that's what I recommend. Race morning. All right, so go to Saturday. First off, weather's looking great. Partly south, partly cloudy. High of 83. Hopefully, we're well done with the race before then. Race should end, by the end of the race, it's going to be like 70. So that's perfect. It's a start getting warm, but not too hot. It'll probably be about 60, 62 when we start. So like I recommend maybe like a hoodie or maybe a layer. It might be a little cold. I always forget how cold I kind of am. The previous race, you needed like a swim parka. You don't need that. You just maybe a hoodie. I recommend trying to get there about 6 a.m., 6:15, 6:20, kind of the latest. It is waking up a little early, but it's just less stress. On the flip hand, I've rolled into a race at like 7:15 because traffic was bad with like, hey, the race starts in 45 minutes. And it's like the worst stressful, like I've had bad dreams about that. So I recommend, hey, go to bed early Friday night, get up. What do you got to do? 4 a.m., whatever, get there by 6, and then you have plenty of time. You'll be great. That's my recommendation. Bathroom options. There's porta potties right by. So there's porta potties. This is important stuff. There's porta potties kind of by the transition area, and there's also like an actual bathroom that you can go to. So what I do is as soon as I show up, I go hit the bathroom, I set up all my gear, and I'm usually nervous and I go hit the bathroom again. So that's all about my bathroom habits. I'm sure you want to know that, but there'll be lines of people we get towards 7:30, there'll be a long line of people. So if you can get that taken care of beforehand, that'd be great. If you haven't picked up your packet already, you just go and pick up your packet that morning. They hand you everything. You have to have an ID and your USAT, your USA Triathlon ID, or if you bought a one-day pass, you should be good to go. You also, whether you packed up your picket there or not, you go to a different tent and show your bib number, and that's how you get your timing chip. And it comes on like this little Velcro thing that you put around your left leg, so that it doesn't get caught in your bike. There's tons of volunteers there that'll walk you through all this. So if you're like, oh, I don't know what's going on, don't worry. It's totally chill, but I'm just telling you once, you'll get like your stickers to put on your bike. I recommend bringing like a small pair of scissors. You can kind of cut out the sticker and put it on your bike instead of just like wrapping it around. But hey, that's an advanced move, not a big deal. And hey, I see here, I put my whole bathroom routine on there. Bathroom, pick up timing chip, set up transition, get your chamois cream on if you have that for riding your bike, and then bathroom again, chill, warm up, head towards the swim. You line up for the swim based on your number. You get your number based on what you put in is your estimated swim time. So the theory is, hey, fast swimmers are in front, slower swimmers are in back. And so, if you all go out and everyone is exactly right, no one runs into each other. Now, that's flexible. So like if your number, 112 and you're next to 115 and 115's or if you're like 110 and someone's like 105 and they're like, oh, I'm nervous, I'm going to go jump behind you. It's no big deal. Like no one's like counting people and like, hey, you're not supposed to be on this. So it's pretty chill. Just in general, that's how you line up. There's also different color caps. So usually like the red caps go first or whatever. And then, so it has an order. But it's super chill. And if for some reason you're like, oh, hey, I'm super nervous, I want to go back to the back of the line so that everyone goes first, that's totally fine. Now, there will also be like 100 other people / 200 other people that are super nervous. So you can't all go to the back of the line. And it's super safe. And we're getting to the swim here in a minute. I'll say quick question I'll hit. If our swim time has changed since signing up, how do we know what group to better start with? Like in general, like if there's kind of 3 groups. First group is like, hey, I'm gunning to like have a really good time. I want to be towards the front. I want to be like in the first 25 people. And then there's the big middle that's like, hey, I don't know, I'm a decent swimmer or not decent swimmer, whatever. I'm just here. So that's like most people. And then there's the back people. They're like, hey, I might need to wear arm floaties, but I'm taking them off just for now. And hey, whatever group you want to be in, it's not a big deal. So Chris, just to answer your question, you can kind of pop in whatever. No one's going to stop you. It's not a big deal. And then, all right, so let's just jump to the swim. Or actually, no, transition. Sorry. So setting up transition. So I get there, get all my stuff together, get my bib, get whatever. And then I need to set up transition, which essentially means I need to set up my bike and my stuff next to my bike. So there's going to be racks in the transition area where you kind of, you put your bike on, like you put your, the front of your seat kind of on it. They're numbered. So it'll be like, this rack is for numbers 1 through 6. And the next rack is like, these are for 7 through 12 or whatever. And so you don't necessarily need to line up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but just be somewhere on that rack. If I was number 4, I could put anywhere on the rack. I mean, it's kind of like a jerk move to like go way out of order, but like in general, try to be, you know, on your rack. But you do have to be on your rack. The referee will kind of come around and make sure you're on your right rack. So then I recommend like a mat or a towel, and then I put my helmet so I can grab it and throw it on, my bike shoes, and then I have my running shoes, my hat, my sunglasses, and my race number belt. We'll talk about those in a minute. If you don't have bike shoes and you're just like, hey, I have flat pedals and I'm just wearing normal shoes, totally cool. But for those of you that do have bike shoes, put those out. One important rule is that in order to, before you touch your bike, you need to have your helmet on and clipped. So we'll talk about that when we talk about transition. But you can see on the picture there, I have my helmet laid out so I can just throw it on, clip it, good to go. So and then fuel, if you need like a gel or something. This is a pretty short race. I think it's the shortest race in the entire series. So you know, most people will probably be fine without gels, maybe 1 or 2. But you know, so let's talk swim. So we got transition set up, and oh yeah, so just before the race starts, man, I'm getting ahead of myself. Just before the swim starts, there's going to be a race briefing. They're going to get on the speaker and be like, hey, everyone come over here. We're going to have a race briefing. And they're going to go through everything that's in your race packet. Like they're just going to read the paper in there. So sometimes I'm not able to hear the race briefing and I start getting nervous. But if I just read the paper beforehand that they gave me, I'm not missing anything. I mean, it's nice to hear it again. And you're hearing this, but anyway. So they're just going to read that packet. The referee will come on and say, hey, everyone, you know, don't draft, which we'll talk about in a minute, and be safe. Then they have the national anthem. They say a pre-race prayer, and then they'll say, okay, race starts in 3 minutes or whatever. And then, you know, they'll get the people ready. So that's what's going to happen for the 15 minutes before the race. The 3 minutes before we start is always the worst part of a race for me because I'm like super nervous. Anyway, so that's before the race. Then we finally get to the swim. Okay, so it's probably not going to be wetsuit legal. It's like 90% of the time it's no wetsuits. I say that with the caveat of last year it was wetsuit legal. So, but it was also like a week, kind of like a week earlier. So I would plan not on a wetsuit. If you have one, bring it. No, great. If you don't have one, totally not a big deal. It's going to be right on. If it is wetsuit legal, it's going to be barely wetsuit legal, which means it's going to be fine and warm. No big deal. I recommend Tri-Glide, which is like if you have a wetsuit, kind of spray it on. It's like a lubricant to get your wetsuit on. It also can help with chafing. There's also that blue stick of stuff. I forget what it's called, but like chafing stuff. So you might want to put that like around your neck and stuff like that. That's all available, all 3. So the swim is going to be a rolling start. So they're going to send one person in every 5 seconds. So it'll be like, they're going to go, you know, I mark, I said go, and one person goes. And then they have a little phone there that's going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the next person goes. And they'll 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, next person goes. So like, it's not a mass start. It's not like a big group of people. It is a one person at a time every 5 seconds, which is super, super nice. Like it's very hard to get injured in this swim because it is spread out. I'll pull up a map in a minute, but so that's what it is. So every 5 seconds, someone will go, and nice and chill. Let's see. It is I don't even know if it's counterclockwise, but ignore those last couple points. So let's jump to the map of what it looks like. So I have posted. So if you this link, I'm going to send this presentation out, but this link bit.ly/LL for Lake Lanier -Alex. If you type that in right now, you can play along at home. This is my Garmin file from the race last year, so you can see everything I did. So let's jump to the swim. So here's the swim. So this is kind of the parking lot, and this is the kind of where the finish line is. So then you come down here, and it's going to be rocky, and I'll show you a picture in a minute. But it's kind of rocky, but they have a nice mat for the starters. And so you go straight out, and there's a big turn buoy there. You turn to your right, and then you swim straight towards the bridge. That's going to be kind of what I could sight off of. And there's going to be a buoy where you make a very, very sharp right turn back in towards land. They normally have like a wiggly man at the swim exit. I don't know, what are those blow up wiggly things? That's my favorite thing. So it's supposed to be 600 meters, which is pretty close. I mean, that's 650 yards. This was 675. I don't know how straight I swam. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty dead on. So it's out, right turn, sharp right turn, and you're not really far from shore hardly any of the time. Honestly, I think I did a warm-up swim where I actually swam this whole thing because it takes, for me, it took 10, well, it took 10 minutes in the race, probably 12, 13 when I'm going a little easier. So it's a great swim. So you basically leave the parking lot, swim around, come back into the parking lot. So nice and chill. There's lots of lifeguards and kayaks and stuff along the way. You can't have a buoy or flippers or anything like that. You just swim normal, no toys. But there are lifeguards, there's boats, and there's kayaks. And if you need to stop, you can hang on to a kayak and catch your breath and then keep going. That's totally allowed. So that's the swim. So and this is kind of what it looks like. So this is from last year. It's kind of this rocky beach area, and it's like a stadium. This is where the Olympics in '96, where they had all the rowing events. So it's really, really cool. So it's like a stadium that everyone can sit in. And then right at the water, you see this black mat, and then you kind of run into the water. So if you go and practice and warm up, which I encourage you to do if you have time, before the race starts, if you're all set up and it's 7:15, yeah, go jump in the water, test out a little bit. But be careful going in and out because it is kind of rocky unless you walk on that mat. This link is links to pictures from last year, and I highly recommend jumping on there. I'll throw this in the no, hold on. Let me grab that. I'll throw it in the chat so you can look at those. It just helps to see I see what's going on. When you see from last year what all that stuff is. So let me drop that link in. There you go. Okay. So that's the swim. Then you come out, you run into the parking lot, and you're time to get on the bike. It's the first transition. So you take off your cap and goggles as you kind of run in. If you're wearing a wetsuit, you take that off. And then you want to make sure your helmet is on and snapped. That's the most important thing. It is illegal to touch your bike before your helmet is snapped, and it's a safety issue. So get your helmet on, switch over to or put on your bike shoes if you're using them, and then grab your bike off the rack and walk it. Don't jump it on. Walk it out of the transition area, and there is a big line that says mount line. So you have to go over that. So past the mount line, it's a big taped line, and then you get on your bike, and then you can go, right? And let's talk about the bike. I'll come back to this in a second. So the bike, it's a parking lot, and then the road is kind of up here, and it's kind of like a steep little hill to get up the road. I try to get a picture. This is me running, but it's that same hill. So I'm down here, and you can see it's just a little hill. It's not the big a deal. Again, it's hard to see, but it's a little hill. And I just say that because you want to make sure your bike is in like a low gear to start off. Otherwise, it's going to be um, hard to get up. Can you have a small speaker on the bike? I think so. I would advise against it. So headphones are not allowed at any point. I think music technically, I don't know. It's worth asking the referee. I think it's not allowed. I know in like Ironman racing and stuff, it's not allowed. Maybe it's not a big deal, but I would say no. I would not do a speaker. Um, but you check in the referee. I'm like 89% sure you can't. Um, yeah, no worries. All right, so first 3 miles on the bike, it's going to be uphill, and then it's kind of rolling hills from there. It's all left turns. They're clearly marked with volunteers and police. There is sometimes some traffic, especially towards the end of the bike course as you're coming back in. Sometimes there's some cars there. Yeah, no headphones on the run either. No headphones anytime. That's a safety issue, which is kind of lame because like marathons, you can have headphones, but not non-triathlon. So watch out for cars as you're coming back in. And then your heart rate will be very high for especially the first half of the bike. And for me at least, it usually settles down about halfway through the bike, and it's just you're going uphill and you're excited and it's stressful and whatever. So plan for that. That's probably the highest time your heart rate's the highest then, and later on the run, whatever. One water bottle, especially if you have like an air water bottle, that's a great idea. It's worth having on your bike with some Gatorade type stuff for water. The last 3 miles, so first 3 miles are all uphill. The last 3 miles are all downhill. And so a lot of people will come just screaming in towards the end of the bike course, which is so fun. You're just flying because it's downhill. But then you have this sharp left turn back into the parking lot. Now there's a police course, or there's a police car up there, stopping traffic, letting you make a left turn without stopping. But just be aware that like, hey, you're going to need the brakes pretty hard coming, so you turn left and you're coming downhill. You got to turn left and then you got to stop before the mountain line to get off your bike. So the last part of the bike, you're really going to want to hold on to the brakes. And then you dismount from the bike, and then you walk it into T2. So a couple questions. No headphones at all during the entire race. Is a single speed bike okay? I would say it's not ideal. If you have strong legs, you'd probably be fine. I would recommend a bike with gears, or like even borrowing one. Some of the hills are like there's nothing steep, like there's nothing like a giant mountain, but like it's some rolling hills that would be really nice to have some lower gears. And then when you're going fast, it's nicer to have some higher gears. So can you do it? Yeah, you can do it. You can do it on a mountain bike. You can do it on a beach cruiser. You'd survive. But maybe I'd recommend some additional gears. I'll talk about the duathlon in just a second. The cutoff time for the race, I don't actually think there is a cutoff time. Like they'll wait for everyone to do it. It's a short race. So even if it takes you like, hey, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to take a couple hours on the bike course. Not a big deal. They'll whoever the last bike is, they'll kind of track that, and they might even like have a car kind of follow that last bike and make sure the course is clear. So don't worry about a cutoff time. You'll be good. Bike computers, absolutely, definitely allowed. The route is not posted anywhere, but if you go to the link I have, you can snag it from my bike course. It's on Strava too. If you look up like Lake Lanier Sprint, you can find it there. Let's go back real quick to the bike course. So it is just under 15 miles, 14.7. You come out of the parking lot and you just follow this road and you just go straight for a long time. It's not a good view. You just go straight, and first 3 miles are uphill. And then you keep going, you turn left here, there'll be a police car and there'll be a volunteer saying turn left, and there'll be signs that say turn left. So you turn left, and then same thing, you'll turn left again. And then I lied, you do take a right turn here. and there'll be someone there. So what you'll see the turn, like when you go up, you maybe will see people coming back the other way. Because then you right turn there and you come all the way back. And again, the last 3 miles are like the best part of this entire race. It is a Saturday morning in rural area Georgia, so there aren't a lot of cars. I often don't see any cars. There might be one or two, but the police kind of hold them off on the turns. We kind of go on some back roads that aren't very populated. The only time I do potentially see them is right at the beginning and end of the bike course. And that, and really that's just like, just be aware of them. Not a big deal. So it should be very, very safe. Not a lot of cars there. All right. So, and this is kind of coming in. This is a different race. This is what the mountain line looks like. So it's going to have like white tape across, and you'll have this white sign that says, mountain line. It'll say each side. There'll also be people there on either side saying, mountain line, jump off your bike. So you need to pass. So going out, you need to pass it, and then you get on and go. And coming in, you need to get off your bike before you pass that line. Otherwise, they'll chase you down and be like, stop, stop, stop. So it's a safety issue. So then you come in, it is transition 2, second time. So you dismount before the line, you walk or run your bike and put it back on the rack. Once your bike is on the rack, then you can take off your helmet, put that down, switch shoes if you're wearing bike shoes. If you're wearing running shoes, don't worry about it. And then throw on a number belt. And then I wear like a hat and sunglasses. That's optional. And then go and rock and roll. So a number belt, that's something I highly recommend, especially for new people. So you have kind of 2 options. They give you a number. You can pin it on, like with, and they have, what are those called? Pins, safety pins. They have safety pins. You can't wear your number during the swim. And so you have to either put it on before the bike or before the run. You don't need it for the bike, but you need it for the run. And so what most people do is they have this kind of elastic band that you grab and you just snap it and boom, you have your number. So you can find these on Amazon for like $10. All 3 Sports has a bunch of them. That's where I get them, where I'd recommend it. I think this is from All 3 Sports. So that I highly recommend that. If you're like, hey, Alex, I can't get a number belt, no big deal. You can safety pin it on your shirt, but that's just time and transition. You have to, put it on there, whatever. So if that's an issue, let me know. We'll talk through what to do there. The run. All right, the run. This is a fun run. I will say that last year they there was like some construction, so it was slightly shorter than 5K. I don't know if that construction's done, so it kind of depends. So if it's done, it will be the 5K it should be. Last year it was, a quarter of a mile short, which is awesome because you're done faster. Let me pull up the run and I will answer this other question in just a second. So the run, you come out of transition and it's kind of marked where you go, kind of run around so you don't get in the path of the bikes. So this back area, you kind of run around and then you run up on this bridge, and it's a nice flat long bridge. It's kind of fun to run over the water. So the first, half mile of the run is flat and great. Then you make a right turn into this neighborhood and it's like hill repeats. So this is a hilly run. You go uphill for a while, and it's kind of like steep uphill and rolling, and then you turn left and run around this circle, and then it's all downhill coming back, which is great. And then you run around flat. Then you run around the parking lot and underneath the road and come in. I'll show you a picture in a minute. That part's fun. The parking lot was what they didn't have last year. I think they should have it this year. I think the construction's done. It's kind of weird because you're like running through the parking lot and you're like, is this the course? Am I supposed to be on this? But it is. So they have cones. And then you run into the tunnel and come to the finish line. It's a fun finish line. So it should be right around 3 miles, 3.1 miles. The water station is right here at the where the loop starts, and so you can grab a drink it's about the 1.5 mile point ish, 1.2 mile point. I don't know. But you grab a drink and then you go around the loop. You can grab another drink on the way back. This goes back to real quick on the bike. There's no aid stations on the bike. So if you need water, drink, whatever, bring it with you. There is a water station, one water station you can hit 2 times on this run, and that's it. So that is the run. Right here is the bridge. This is me, really little, running across. Down here, you see that big red buoy. That is the hard right turn on the swim. So you're being sighting. You're swimming like straight towards this bridge. You hit that red buoy, hard right back in, and then later you're running across that bridge. You run, up that hill. You come back on the bridge, and then you run around the parking lot and come through underneath this tunnel. The tunnel's fun. So yeah, that's fun time. I'll pause to see Ian's question. Are triathlon suits like the ones in the pictures allowed, or are they considered wetsuits? So what this guy is wearing, totally allowed. A wetsuit is anything that goes below your knees or past your elbows, which tri-suits aren't like that. So yeah, like a wetsuit is past your knees, past your elbows. Anything that's like short of your elbows and short of your knees, totally fine. Or hey, shorts and t-shirt, not a big deal. Small like hydration backpacks, totally allowed on the run. I don't know if you necessarily need one, but yeah, if you're like, hey, this is going to take me a good 45 minutes, yeah, absolutely. Even if you take some walk breaks, it shouldn't be too bad. And then so you run through, come to the finish line. This is what the finish line looks like right here. And then you get to celebrate. So they have some snacks like bananas, oranges, chips, Oreos, and water. I would recommend bringing more food. So I'm like, you eat your snacks and you're like, okay, like I missed breakfast and I'm ready for lunch. So maybe pack like at least a protein bar. Sometimes I'll bring donuts. Some clothes to change into might be a good idea because you'll be super sweaty. Awards will start around 11. Most people will have been done for like an hour at least. And you're like, no, I'm going to take a while. Like, no, actually you'll be done. Like it starts at 8, people, I'd say the majority of people are done by, 9:30, 10, 10:30. So, there'll be some downtime. It can get really hot. There's not a lot of shade. So, maybe consider, I don't know, an umbrella if you don't like tons of sun. Kids, I always bring my family comes, you can write on chalk, bring bubbles. Like if you're just coming to yourself to race, you can just like lay down, have a nap, whatever, talk with people. It's totally fun. If you have kids and family, the after race part, that's the challenge. It can get really boring. So like, if they're sitting around for an hour and a half, nothing to do, it's harder for them. So just, bring a tablet, whatever, keep them happy. Speaking from experience, we're like, can we go? I'm like, no, hold on. We got to get our reward, right? Photos will be uploaded about 24 hours later. Again, that link I sent, it's going to be the same website, but that'll show you last year's photos. And then please Try the Parks on Instagram. Give me a heads up. Let me know you crushed it. I'll give you a high five, that kind of thing. And then let me hit these questions, and then we will open up to any questions whatsoever. So what I didn't talk about on the bike was drafting. So this is a non-drafting event, which means you can't ride right behind other people on the bike. Now, it is a lot more chill than the Ironman World Championship, right? So if you like accidentally sneak up on someone, don't worry. You're like, yes, there are referees. Yes, they enforce the rules. But if it's your first time, drafting should not be like that big a concern for you. Worst case scenario, you get like a minute penalty and whatever you have for us. So the rules are 3 bike lengths. So if this is a bike length, you go 1, 2, 3. That's where I can be. 3 bike lengths behind someone. It's different for different events, but for this event, kind of the USAT rules is 3 bike lengths. And check the paper because sometimes that changes. Sometimes it's 5 bike lengths. So I think it's 3, might be 5. I know for Ironman races it's 6, but it'll say on the paper what the rules are. with your packet. But basically that means, okay, we're riding along, that's fine. Now, if I come close, then I have a certain amount of time where I need to pass that person, or else that's considered drafting. And that can be like a time penalty. So I'm coming along and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to pass. And so I have a certain amount of time. I think it's 30 seconds. Again, sorry, this is like, it changes. So it'll be on the paper, but say it's 30 seconds. I have 30 seconds to get in front of that person. And then that person, if you get past, you then have 30 seconds, or that person has 30 seconds to fall back to the right length before they try to pass you again. So for most people, it's not that big a deal. Bikes get spread out pretty quick. You either pass, you're either passing a lot of people and it's not a big deal, or people passing you. And, for these smaller races, it's not, I don't know, not something to worry about, but that is the rule. They're usually watching the people up front that are being really fast. But yeah, so that's what's going on there. Other questions? Let's see. Passing safely. So yeah, you always pass on the left. Passing on the right is illegal. I will say, like, with a lot of new people, sometimes if someone's riding unsafely, just get past however you can and just tell the ref if they say something like, hey, I'm just trying not to wreck. That's rare, but sometimes happens. But you should ride on the right side of the road, and then to pass, you go on the left. You can even call out like, hey, on your left, if for some reason you do that. Let's see. I learned to swim a couple months ago, only did pool swims. Am I getting in over my head by doing this race? No, this is a great friendly race. So it's a 600-meter swim. It is nice, clear sighting. It is smooth. Yes, you have to, when you're swimming, you have to pop your head up to do sighting to see where you're going. You could even do some breaststroke. But yeah, I know the swim, especially for new people, the swim is super intimidating. And I know why, because it's like, ooh, it's dark. I can't see the lane line because there is no lane line. But you will do great. It is very friendly. There's not like people hitting you or whatever. There might be some traffic, but it's easy to kind of, move around from people, which gets to another question of like, how do you create your lane in the swim? It's a rolling start. So there's just going to be like, for the most part, one person after the other. Now, halfway through the swim, people start to bunch up a little bit, and you can either just like, oh, hey, there's a bunch of people, I'm going to go around them, or you just kind of go. So it like everyone else is trying to avoid everyone else. Things do happen, but much less in these types of races. Now, you go to an Ironman race with 2,000 people, it's a lot different story. But this is like, hey, we're all here having fun. There's no money on the line. It usually worked out pretty good. Bicycle single speed, if you can have gears, it'd be great, but you'll survive if you don't. The best spot for friends and family to watch and cheer. I would have all the friends and family kind of hang out around the transition area. You'll see where other people will kind of bring camping chairs and sit up. So that's an idea, bring chairs kind of along. There's a sidewalk where you can watch, or kind of all around transition. So plenty of room. You'll see you'll see people there, and it's not a big deal. Parking is, I saw a question. Parking's free. There's a big parking lot. And then when that parking lot fills up, there's another parking lot on the other side of the road. And you kind of walk through that tunnel, where the run is. So, the sooner you get there, if you follow my advice and get there around 6, you'll have a prime parking spot right next to transition. If you're late and it's 6:45, no big deal. You're going to be 100 meters away in another parking lot, and you just 3-minute walk over. So not a big deal. Let's see. They're having a coffee truck. They also have some snacks you can buy. Yes. Okay. So that reminds me, for this race, they do have food trucks that come that have, I think previously they've had like breakfast items, alcohol. It's a little early for that, but whatever. So this one's actually pretty good. So yeah, there's a food truck. It's a little pricey on the pricey side, but it's good food. So that might be good. There's no gravel on the bike. It's all roads. It's all paved roads. So that's really nice. Can you wear a swimming snorkel during the swim? You cannot. So no snorkels allowed. No buoys, no fins, no paddles, just naked swimming slash with, that sounds wrong. No toys. You definitely have a swimsuit or tri-suit on. You definitely can have a watch. But yeah, no snorkel. So that is everything for me. So we can, any other questions, I'm happy to answer. So feel free to throw them in the chat. This is a fun race. It's one of the, I think it's the shortest one they do. And it's, it's fun. It's not super hilly on the bike. What's a decent time? I with what did I do last year? So this is also like the only race that I did not win last year, which sounds super cocky, but it's not. Some dude beat me by 9 seconds. It was like this college guy that ran like a 15-minute 5K. Like just, his swim was decent, his bike was decent, and then he had like the fastest run I've ever seen in one of these, and it was hilly too. So he beat me by 9 seconds. So I did an hour and 4 minutes. He did an hour four. So that was a winning time last year. Kind of depends who shows up. An hour flat would be amazing, and I've seen that from other fast people. If you look at past results, you kind of see what age group, hey, 55 or 55 to 60 female, what's a good time? I don't know, hour and 45 minutes potentially. I don't know. You can see last year. Where can you see past results? Let's look up Try the Parks results 2023. Dun, dun. And hold on. Because they moved them. They moved where they are on the website. So here is last year's, and so you can see like, hey, let's look up female 55 to 59. The winner, man, was that good guess or what? Winner was hour 45 minutes, 206, 209. So you can kind of see like, hey, what was good times last year? But so like there's people obviously doing 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and that's great, like awesome. All right, duathlon run course. So on the duathlon, it's basically the run and then the swim and then the run again. Nothing too creative. Sometimes they have the run, you go backwards, so you might go down under the road and then across the bridge, run backwards around the loop and come back for the first run. It's the same run course. It might be the other direction. Maybe, I don't know if they're going to do that or not. They do that on some of the other races. But yeah, like it's the run, same bike course, and then the run course again. Should family plan on arriving before the start? Is the parking lot closed off? Yeah, so most people will arrive with their family. If your family's coming separately, I would have them get there no later than like 7:30. Because they will, I don't know if they necessarily block it off, but it gets really congested around there because you have the police vehicles starting to head out and they start moving stuff. So yeah, if you have other people driving separately, try to get them there by 7:30. You can see past results. We showed that. Packet pickup. All right, so you have two options for packet pickup. They will Thursday of this week from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at all three sports. You can go and get your packet there. I recommend it because I love all three sports and I buy stuff there. Then Friday, I think Friday afternoon, you can pick it up at the park because they'll be there setting up. Or for most people, and often what I did is Saturday morning, you come in, you go to the tent and you show your ID and your USAT ID, or you show your phone with your USAT number or your one-day pass, whatever, and say, hey, and you get your packet. Your packet will have it'll have a map of the course. It'll have the rules that we talked about, and then it will have a sticker. You put a sticker on the front of your helmet and you put it on your bike. And then you take and they'll have a number bib that you can put on your number belt. You take that over to the timing chip tent and they give you your timing chip. You get that and you put it around your ankle. your left ankle so it's not getting chewed up by your drivetrain of your bike. So they'll walk you through that. Like there's lots and lots of volunteers, especially in the morning. And yeah, that way that. So any other questions? My pro journey. Okay. Are you required to wear a shirt for the bike and or run? No. And unfortunately, one of my friends does this entire race in just a Speedo, and it's something to see. So no, you don't need to wear a shirt. Some people should wear a shirt. At least my friend should, but you don't have to. Um, let's see. Picture for the swim again. Oh, let's see. Pictures. Let me send that link for the pictures. And then I will send also the link to look at the course. And this is just my Garmin file from last year. Are we going to provide anything for the swimming portion? No. You do get a swim cap. So they'll give you a swim cap. And so then it'll be a different color based on what number you are. But yeah, that's the only thing you'll get. And then bring your own goggles. Let's see. Any other questions before I get to Chris's? Real quick, my pro journey. Is this what you thought it would be? Congrats, missing T100 Alcatraz for this race. Yeah, I am not being invited to any T100 race, which is probably smart on them. So yeah, it's real quick about me. So last year I was able to do really well in some of the age group races, and I qualified to get my pro card for this year. I've done one pro race, and it was a little rough. I'm just doing this for fun. Like, I have a full-time job. I will never get any money from this, and that's okay. But I'd love to not be the last place pro. That's my goal. It'll be good. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm seeing progress. It's been fun to like work with different brands and get to know other pros. So we'll see. If you want to hear more, let me know. We'll talk. Sign up the group. 7 of us, friends and family on the race. Can we group to tackle it together? We're different age groups. So you can, if you have friends that are racing, you can't race side by side or close to each other on the bike. So you have to keep that distance between you. So you could have a pack of 7 of you if you are draft distance or draft legal distance between everyone. So 3 bike lengths, and you had, essentially 21 bike lengths between all of you guys. That's fine. In the swim, you can kind of stick together. On the run, you can all run together. That's totally fine. But the bike, you stay apart. So hopefully that works, and that'll be fun. And yeah, you see a lot of people with like the same kit all racing together, which is a lot of fun. And it's fun on the run to be together. So, if you're like, hey, I'm just here to have a good time with my friends, when you finish the bike, stick around for a minute, wait for your friend to come in, and you can tackle the run together. So last call for questions before we call it. Very, very excited for Try the Parks. Great series. The people there are super awesome. They'll take good care of you. If you any questions at all, you can hit me up beforehand. You'll probably have even more questions day of, though, and they have lots of volunteers that can answer your questions. There'll be an all 3 sports tent. Drop by there, say hi. They can help you, answer questions, things like that. It's really like, there's a few people there like, hey, I'm here to win. Let's go. But like for the vast majority of people, there's a lot of new people, and they're like, hey, we're just here to have fun. Even the people that are trying to win, they're just there to have fun. So it's a great community. Talk to each other, get to know each other, have a lot of fun. Reach out if you have questions. Hit up Try the Parks on Instagram and hit me up. So thank you very much for coming. Have a wonderful evening. Good luck on your race. I know you're going to kill it. And again, if it's your first time, you're going to PR. It's going to be amazing. And, hey, this is your first step on a very dangerous addiction that is triathlon life. So thank you very much for coming. Have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you guys later.